Follow-up is the most important part of wrestling. You'll hear annoying people like me talk about this all the time, but it's true. Doesn't matter how good the build is, if you pull the trigger and then don't stick the landing, it all goes downhill. My name is Simon Miller, and it's 10 wrestlers whose career went the wrong way after they'd smashed a home run. Number 10, Bart Gun. This one always gets me, as it wasn't even Bart Gun's fault. He just accidentally ran afoul of the office. It all goes back to the Brawl for All, which is so long ago, some people don't know. Happening in 1998, however, we had the grand idea to have shoot fights on Raw, which, meant by proxy you were telling the audience that the rest of the matches were predetermined. Oh dear. It was all put together so that Dr. Death Steve Williams could win, get the rub and challenge Steve Austin, but if you want that, just have Williams win a bunch of worked scraps. That's the whole point, you're then in control. The then WWF gave this up though, and of course it went bad. Steve got absolutely smashed by Bart, who did indeed prove he was pretty damn tough. Good for him. Of course, this spot wasn't meant for so management was super mad, hence why come WrestleMania 15, they put him in a real boxing fight with pro fighter Butterbean, and he knocked Gun out in seconds, and the final blow was sick. The WWF must have known this was a possibility, so essentially it was a punishment for messing up their plans. As you can imagine, Bart never recovered from this, and was soon let go. This was so horrible and dumb, just give him a proper go and see. But nope, we did this instead. I'm not sure Gunn ever got back to where he was. Number 9, Vader. Before his WWF run and after his WWF run, Vader ruled. He would just wreck people and was a believable champion. There's a reason individuals consider him one of the best big men ever. Maybe it was due to this success that Vince McMahon was mad at Vader when he did get brought in, because as we've heard time and time again, McMahon didn't like that. What you did elsewhere didn't count in the WWF. Sure. It was still major news when he did join on in 1996 and he was thrown in the deep end. He had a full-on war with Shawn Michaels, and that was kind of the issue. It seems like Vader whacked HBK a little bit too hard, leaving Michaels to tell anybody who would listen he was done with that guy, and I suppose everyone agreed. There was also problems with Vince McMahon, as Vader always claimed he was forced to compete in the Royal Rumble that year before he was 100%, so it all fell apart. Then Vince Russo had him go on TV and call himself a fat piece of shit. Ugh. As soon as he was out the door, things got better for him, but in terms of the WWF, it was not a touch on what he'd done before. Number 8, Otis. The man is just so likable, hence why back in 2020 he got his story with Mandy Rose over like no one's business. People were desperate for them to get together. They eventually did, but good grief did he get dealt a bad hand. This all came to its grand conclusion during the pandemic. It was never going to work. You can't unite two people and expect it to go well when there are no fans. That was the joy of the angle. We still tried, as he was given the Money in the Bank briefcase, but all of the above applied there too. Then somebody made the great call for then partner Tucker to turn on him as The Miz stole his world title opportunity. It was just bad. It did send Otis off into the doldrums for a while, but thankfully his association with Chad Gable and the Alpha Academy had put him back in the limelight. It may have already happened by the time you see this, but I would make him Intercontinental Champion at some point. And if we're going to go big, let's go big. And it's the only way we will truly ever know. Number 7, the Great Khali. This is an interesting one, but look. Whether you thought much of Khali's wrestling or not, the office did get behind him. He was the flippin' world heavyweight champion. This was 2007, so Vince McMahon just wanted big guys doing big guy things, and who bigger than the Great One? I think he was the legitimate 7 feet tall, which explains why his knees stopped working. No way you can get away with that. He did work with the likes of Batista and Triple H though, before everybody realized his limitations. Well, that's right, he became the Punjabi Playboy. He thinks the name came before the idea. He was also doing the kiss cam before long, and for context, that would be like Steve Austin turning up and doing the hug hour. I mean, he was WWE champion too. The very last thing we saw him do was smooch Natalia, who at the time had a farting gimmick. So I try and be a positive guy, but this was quite the drop. Number 6, Queen Zelena. This one sucks because Zelena Vega did nothing wrong. I don't get it. It was Nia Jax who won the most recent Queen of the Ring, and that did rule. But in terms of the person who got this rolling, it's Vega, fresh from the Street Fighter tournament. Now, it was called the Queen's Crown then for some reason, but it is the same thing, and she even beat Piper Niven in the finals. The rumor mill says this was a make-good after Vince McMahon had cancelled her 9/11 SmackDown appearance where Vega had a fitting tribute to her father. And why we did that anyway I don't know, but you're damn right she deserves something. The problem was, while she did get this moment, afterwards, nothing. It just meant there were no plans, and that sucks. If anything, it actually harmed her because she vanished from TV entirely. It was like she didn't exist. Eventually she was back in a random tag team with Carmella, which never works, before she got ruined by Rhea Ripley at Backlash 2023. I do hope we sort this soon. I like Zelena Vega. She just needs a proper chance. Number 5, Rob Van Dam. Do you want to know how popular RVD was? When he was brought into the WWE, nobody cared what sort of story he was involved with. Wasn't the same for the other invaders, but the crowd loved Rob so much, he was instantly over. Even in 2002, some thought he was ready for a world title run, but that's never how it works. He had to pay his dues, so he did. That brought us to 2006, when finally the powers that be did pull the trigger at the iconic One Night Stand pay-per-view. He did have a lot of help to do this, but still, Van Dam defeated John Cena, and it was awesome. It also meant he was the WWE and ECW champion simultaneously, and it felt like he'd finally arrived. And then, my word, it went bad. Just 1 month later, Robert got busted in a drugs charge, and WWE didn't like that. He swiftly lost his belts and I presume had to be punished, so also lost his momentum. Certainly felt like his WWE career was never the same again, because I suppose whatever trust he had was gone. RVD had everything needed to be the man, but he never really kept it up. Number 4, Rikishi and Too Cool. On paper, this should have never worked. 2, I suppose, narcissist and a giant Samoan man. The whole thing was mad because Too Cool were never meant to get over as much as they did, and even the original idea was that they were going to be the uncool Hardy Boys. That's how Vince Russo pitched it. It all blew up in 2000 because of how popular Big Quiche got, because we applied the usual sound wrestling logic. If he's getting these kind of reactions, imagine if he was a bad guy. Hence why he was soon responsible for running over Stone Cold Steve Austin, and of course he did it for The Rock. By then, Too Cool had fallen off because they'd lost their third friend. Grandmaster Sexay was then released in 2001 when he got into drug trouble. What a nightmare this turned out to be. It ruined all of them. Even then, though, people are still nostalgic about this. That's how much it was beloved. Number 3, Mr. Kennedy. Kennedy! This one was wild, because not only was Ken the chosen one, Vince McMahon was such a fan, he was going to make him his son. That's right. He also won the Money in the Bank briefcase at WrestleMania 23 and almost instantly said he'd wait until next year and cash it in. He was so ballsy. Sadly, he then injured his shoulder, meaning Edge won the case off him, but this must have stung. What was thought to be a proper problem turned out to be something he fixed quite quickly. There was no need for him to lose his lovely contract. It was too late to change that, and before long Kennedy got tied up in a steroid scandal, and after he caught the ire of John Cena and Randy Orton, he then got released. It was properly crazy. We all still thought he'd get around too in WWE, because everybody does, and yet here we are in 2024, and it's never happened. Ken was most definitely the guy at one point. The turnaround was absolutely bonkers. Number 2, King Mabel. A lovely guy by all accounts, but also somebody who would tag his opponents a lot. Mabel was also an odd choice to win the King of the Ring, given Bret and Owen Hart had come before it, and yeah, in 1995 he kept injuring people by accident. He still got his world title match against Kevin Nash at SummerSlam though. When it went super bad, Mabel slammed his full weight down on the then Diesel, and it was so poor he almost got fired. Then months later, Taker did get it because Mabel broke that guy's orbital bone. My gosh. The big guy then did get his release, although of course he was brought back in 1999, before he went again. Then he was back as Big Daddy V. Just such odd gimmicks. It does go to show though that becoming king even back then didn't mean you were gonna fly, because when it came to Mabel, he went in completely the opposite direction. Number 1, Damien Sandow. The intellectual savior of the masses was just a joy as an asshole heel. It worked so well, WWE management agreed. They decided in 2013 to have Damien Sandow win the Money in the Bank. As ever, WWE did the whole, well, you're going to lose until then because the big victory will erase all that, when he got beaten by John Cena and failed to capitalize. It really did ruin this gimmick, but Sandow actually had more in his back pocket. He transformed into Damien Mizdow, or the Miz's stunt double, and it was wonderful. All WWE needed to do was have him eliminate his cruel boss during the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which he did do, and then right away the Big Show grabbed him and threw him to the floor. For goodness sake, just give him something. In 2016, they then released him, and all of this was ridiculous. You could do exactly what you were asked, and it didn't make a damn difference. Know of anybody else who hit the tippity top before falling back to the bottom? Please do let me know in the comments below. Before you like the video, share the video, and damn it, subscribe.